I just have to piggyback. I mean, he's set me up so well for what I'm about to teach. So remember everything he just said about Thomas Jefferson, okay? And everything that Thomas Jefferson said. But I also want to point out, I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, at the top of that Washington Monument, there was a law made that no building can go higher than that.
Yes.
Y'all know why? Because they wanted that to be the highest decoration in that capital city. What decoration was that? What was on top of the Washington Monument?
Praise be to God.
Praise be to God. They wanted that to be the highest thing in the city. Isn't that amazing? All right. And then there is a inscription on the walls, and there of a bunch of philosophers. Most of those philosophers, if not all of them, are Christians. But look at me, everybody. Here's what those philosophers look like on the wall. Does anybody know what this is called?
Profile.
Profile. All right. Profile. There's on this side over here. This is what the profile is doing. You with me? On this side over here, they've got a bunch of these philosophers. On this side over here, this is what the profile is doing. Guess what is right in the middle? A shot like this of who? This is about the law. Now, this is about the law. All these philosophers gave the law. Guess who is right in the middle? Moses. Facing out. So what are all those other philosophers doing? Looking to Moses for the law. That's it in our government buildings. It's amazing. All right, I want to try to talk to you about the separation of church and state. Separation of church and state. How many of you have heard before? Separation of church and state. You can't have the church. You can't have any kind of church-like activities on school property or any kind of government property. Because separation of church and state. How many of you have heard that? Okay. Do you know which document, which government document, the separation of church and state phrase comes from? None. There is no official government document that the phrase separation of church and state is in. Did y'all know that? That's amazing.
So when you go to school this week,
there is no such phrase in any of our founding documents. What people associate that phrase with is the first what? Amendment. Who can tell me what the First Amendment says? Read it for me on the page if you can't. Kylie, you can say it. You know it?
Shall make no law respecting an establishment or opposing freedom of association.
No. There are two clauses to this thing. There are two clauses. One's called the Establishment Clause. Everybody say Establishment Clause.
Establishment Clause.
And there's another one called the Free Exercise Clause.
free exercise clause.
Everybody, Free Exercise Clause.
Free exercise.
What's the first one? Establishment Clause. What's the next one?
Free exercise clause.
The Establishment Clause states this: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Now, everybody think about it for a second. This First Amendment, this Establishment Clause, prohibits a certain group of people. Who does it prohibit? Congress. Does it prohibit teachers?
No.
Does it prohibit you and me?
No.
Does it prohibit a student from saying a prayer at a graduation?
No.
It prohibits who? Congress. Does it prohibit congressmen? This is tricky. Does it prohibit congressmen? No. It prohibits the entity of what? Congress. Y'all understand the difference in that? That's all. The entity of Congress is what it's prohibiting. Not people, not those individuals in there. It is prohibiting the entity of Congress. It's prohibiting them from doing what? Look at the phrase. It's right there in italics. Congress shall make no what? Law. Congress shall make no law. That's what the First Amendment is saying. Congress is not allowed to make a law that does something. How in the world have we gotten from that to a coach can't say a prayer on a football field? Y'all understand how crazy that is? And how they've done it, I'll tell you how, and this is why we're begging you all to take this seriously. This is how they've done it. How many of you in here knew what the First Amendment said? They can tell you whatever they want you to believe the First Amendment said. They can tell you it means separation of church and state, and none of you would know because we don't know our own laws. We don't know our own history. That's what we're trying to correct you. Y'all understand? And it's so important. If everybody knew what the First Amendment really said, Congress can't make a law, then there's no way that they would get away with telling the coach you can't pray on a football field. Y'all see? All right? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Here's what that means. I'm going to prove it to you, Lord Billy. That means they can't, it doesn't mean that they can't make a law that's a religious law or a law that acknowledges the Bible. That is not what it means. All of our laws were based on Moses, as we just talked about, the book of the Bible. It means they cannot make a national religion. And more specifically, and this is something that I wouldn't have believed until I researched it, all it really means is they cannot make a national denomination of what religion? Christianity. Let me prove that to you. Thomas Jefferson said the bold part and underline about the Establishment Clause. Y'all see that in the middle of the page? Here's what Thomas Jefferson said that the Establishment Clause means. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Here's Thomas Jefferson's paraphrase. Who wants to read it for me? All right, go ahead, Ryan. Thomas Jefferson's words were that bold part that's underlined in the middle of the page.
Okay. An establishment of a particular form of Christianity through the United States.
Did y'all hear that? Thomas Jefferson said that the Establishment Clause means that the Congress can't make a law that makes an establishment of a particular form of Christianity through the United States. He didn't want Catholics to overpower other types of Christians and say, we're a Catholic nation and now you've got to confess your sins to a priest. You've got to do everything Catholics do. Y'all understand? That's what it was about. You can't have a this was a denomination at the time, the Congregationalists United States. It wasn't the Congregationalists United States, it was the what United States? It wasn't a Catholic United States, it wasn't a Congregationalist United States, it wasn't a Baptist United States, it was a Christian United States. There was none of them would have even thought that they would be calling it a non-Christian nation. Alright? But to prove that to you, Congress, at least 2 times, has declared in official government documents, remember, separation of church and state, that's not in any what? Government document. The separation of church and state is not in any government document. Here's what is in government documents. Congress has said these 2 things. Look at the bottom where it says Congress. Read the bold part for me, everybody. The 5 words right there. What does it say?
We are Christian people.
That's what Congress said in an official Judiciary Committee report. All right, the next one says, the bold part in the next statement. What does it say, everybody? That's Congress saying Christianity should be encouraged. They broke separation of church and state. They can't establish, they can't make a law that respects the religion. Now see, it's absurd. These people said Christianity should be encouraged. Not necessarily Catholic, Baptist. Now see, that was the point of the First Amendment. They can't establish a denomination of Christianity. They declare that we are a Christian people and Christianity should be encouraged. Now that was Congress. Now who is 9 people? Really 5 people. Yeah, there's 9 of them, and 5 of them are controlling everything we do. What am I talking about? The Supreme Court. Here's what the Supreme Court ruled about our nation at the bottom. The Supreme Court rulings. Read the 5 words right there, everybody. That was on an official court ruling. The Supreme Court said, this is a Christian nation. All right, turn the page. By the way, in the court cases where they used separation of church and state to take away prayer out of schools, which hopefully you all realize now that's ridiculous. Congress can't make a law. How is somebody praying in school, Congress making a law? It makes no sense. But so they used that and they said, separation of church and state, you can't pray. They had zero precedence. Who knows what a precedent is?
Right.
It's the rulings that have happened
previous court rulings. They couldn't find a single Supreme Court ruling before that time in 1962. The one I'm talking about might not be the prayer. It might be something else. I think it was 1940 something, the one I'm referring to then. But it might have been 1962. Anyway, in the 1900s, the Supreme Court declared that, you can't pray in school, and Bible can't be in school, and all this stuff. They did it with zero precedence because there was no other court ruling in the past that they could use to say that you can't pray in school. Y'all see that? But now, we have court rulings that say we are a what? Christian nation. It's amazing. All right, on this next page here. This is taken directly from the congressional records where they wrote down the discussions while they were making the First Amendment. Y'all understand what I was saying? What we're about to read is where they had somebody who was writing down meticulously everything that everybody was discussing, everybody's statements whenever they were making up the Bill of Rights. So whenever the First Amendment, it was the Third Amendment at that time, but it became our First Amendment, whenever it was being discussed, here are the stages of what was passed as to what would be written there, the phrasing. Right now we have that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Here's the stages that got us to that point. I want y'all to read it for me. Colby, read the first one there. It's on the second page right there at the top, the civil rights of
none shall be
abridged
on account of religious belief or worship, nor shall any national religion be established.
Nor shall any national religion be established. It wasn't about honoring God. It was about creating a national, this is a Catholic nation. You understand? All right? The next one. Read the next one for me, Cody.
No religion shall be established by law, nor shall the full rights of conscience be infringed.
No religion shall be established by law. Y'all see the point? The point was very clear. They didn't want a national religion. They wanted to encourage Christianity. This is a Christian nation. They just didn't want some Catholics taking over some Congregationalists or some Congregationalists taking over Catholics. Y'all understand? All right, keep going. Who wants to read the next one? Quickly, please. Yes, sir.
Congress shall make no law establishing religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor shall the rights of conscience be infringed.
All right, the next one. All right, go ahead, Luke.
Congress shall make no law establishing one religious sect or society in preference to others.
All right, here's something that is important. This one changed the word. It said religion. Today, we think of all sorts of religions. Back then, when they said religion, they were thinking of the true religion. What religion were they thinking of? Christianity. They weren't thinking about any of these other religions that have crept into our nation. But here we have a word we can hold on to. You need to witness this word to other people, that this was what they were talking about whenever they were forming the First Amendment. The word is sect. Sect, we don't say that word today. We use a different word. Y'all can probably read it. What do we use? Denomination. That's what they were talking about. It says, Congress shall make no law establishing one religious sect or society in preference to another. We want to be a religious nation. We are a religious nation, a Christian nation, but we don't want one sect to take over. Y'all follow that? One denomination. All right. I've got to tell you some more. We're going to move down. Please read through all this. Hopefully you know now, First Amendment does not tell you that we can't have a Christian nation. All right? I need to tell you about what some people will say after you tell them about what they were discussing. Some anti-religious people will say, well, none of that matters. It doesn't matter that that's what they said beforehand. The law now says that they can't respect a religion. Well, the person who wrote the final wording of that law, of that First Amendment, the person who wrote the final wording, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. His name is Fisher Ames. Everybody say Fisher Ames. Here's what Fisher Ames said about the Bible in schools. This is the man who wrote our First Amendment. The very man who wrote the First Amendment is being used to take Bible out of schools. And here's what he said about taking Bible out of schools. Look at it. He said, should not the Bible regain the place it once held as a school book? Its morals are pure, its examples captivating and noble. The reverence for the sacred book that is thus early impressed lasts long, and probably if not impressed in infancy, he was in childhood, never takes firm hold of the mind. And here's the next thing he said. We have a dangerous trend beginning to take place in our education. We're starting to put more and more textbooks into our schools. See, he was appalled, textbooks into the schools. We've become accustomed of late to putting little books into the hands of children containing fables and moral lessons. We're spending less time in the classroom on the Bible, which should be the principal text in our schools. The Bible states these great moral lessons better than any other man-made book. That's the man who did what? He wrote the First Amendment. That man is being used to take that man's wording is being used to take the Bible out of schools, and he specifically said, put the Bible as the principal textbook in our schools. Isn't that amazing? Oh, there's more I wish I could tell you. I got to tell you about who said separation of church and state. Who is credited, and I'll give you again, I told you that Brother Jason set me up really well. Who is credited for saying separation of church and state? Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson said that. Thomas Jefferson wrote that to a group of Baptists who were concerned that the First Amendment might be used to say that the government gave the right for people to worship God. And Thomas Jefferson wrote in the letter, no. We have separation of church and state. The state cannot stop you from practicing your religion and worshiping God the way you want to. And I hope you'll read through that. It's clear in there that Thomas Jefferson was reassuring them, we're not going to mess with you. We worship how you desire. You have the free exercise of religion. It wasn't about stopping the government from being religious.